I swear I didn't see it coming. You always think betrayal creeps in slowly, with warning signs flashing red if you just pay enough attention. But that night, it hit me like a punch straight to the gut. No warning, no mercy. It was Friday, around 9 p.m. I had just gotten out of the shower, still dripping onto the hardwood floors, a towel barely clinging to my hips. I remember the way the cool air hit me, sharp and uncomfortable, kind of like the words that were about to slice through my life. Jenna, my wife, my supposed best friend, my everything, was standing in the living room. She wasn't dressed for a cozy night in. No, she wore ripped jeans that clung to her like a second skin, a black leather jacket she hadn't worn since her wild college days, and a shade of red lipstick so bold it looked like she was preparing for war. Her overnight bag sat next to her feet like a loaded weapon. I remember tilting my head, confused. "Where are you going?" I asked, drying my hair with the towel. That's when she said it. Said it so calmly, like she was reading off a grocery list. "Listen, your cousin's going through a rough breakup, so I'm moving into his loft to help him cope. From now on, I'll be screaming his name at night. He really needs someone. And don't bother reaching out to anyone. The whole family supports us. We're truly happy together." I dropped the towel. It hit the floor with a soft slap, the only sound in the room besides my own ragged breathing. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Speechless doesn't even begin to cover it. My brain was short-circuiting, trying to catch up with the avalanche of filth that had just poured out of her mouth. My cousin, my blood, Tyler. That piece of garbage had sat at my dinner table, toasted my birthday, held my newborn daughter once. And now Jenna was telling me, no, flaunting, that she was moving in with him, screaming his name, like it was a freaking favor to the family. I stumbled back a step, the world tilting. "You're joking," I croaked out, my throat so dry it hurt. She rolled her eyes, grabbing her phone and typing something furiously. Probably sexting Tyler, I realized, that thought clawing at my insides like broken glass. "Grow up, Kyle," she sneered, snapping her gum. "You're boring. You always have been. Tyler's a real man, not some pathetic little puppy who worships me and thinks that's enough." Her words hit harder than any punch I'd ever taken. I could feel the pieces of my dignity breaking off and crumbling to the floor. I noticed now how different she looked. Not just the clothes. The way she stood, bold, cocky, like she owned the room. Like I was nothing more than a forgotten stain on the carpet. There was no shame in her eyes. No guilt. Just this cruel sparkle, like she was enjoying ripping my world apart. "You're not even sorry," I whispered. She laughed. Laughed. A full, throaty laugh that echoed off the walls. "Sorry," she repeated, wiping a fake tear from the corner of her eye. "Kyle, you should be thanking me. I wasted years trying to pretend you were enough. I'm finally doing something for myself. And guess what? Your family agrees." I didn't believe her. Couldn't. Wouldn't. My heart refused to accept it. But deep down, a tiny voice whispered, "What if she's telling the truth? What if they all chose her over you?" I stood there frozen as she slung her bag over her shoulder, blew a kiss in my direction like I was a pitiful child, and sauntered out the door without a backward glance. The slam of the door rattled the whole house. And just like that, my marriage, my family, my whole damned identity, gone. In that suffocating silence that followed, I finally felt it. The first crack in the armor. The beginning of the collapse. The truth I couldn't outrun. The woman I loved had never loved me back. After Jenna slammed the door and left me standing there like an idiot, I sat down on the cold leather couch, staring at nothing. The more the silence grew around me, the louder the memories screamed. The signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. I remembered the nights she came home late, smelling like whiskey and some overpriced cologne that wasn't mine. She would wave it off, saying she stopped at a bar with the girls from work. Laugh it off like I was crazy for even asking. I remembered the way she started locking her phone, always keeping it face down. She used to hand me her phone without a second thought. Now, she would snatch it up like a bomb about to explode. I remembered how she suddenly had girls' weekends every other month. How she'd come back with expensive gifts, bags, perfume, jewelry, and tell me her friend Ashley had connections. Ashley, who was so broke she once asked me for gas money. God, how stupid had I been? How badly did I want to believe that everything was fine just because I was too scared to admit it wasn't? And Tyler. The memories started bubbling up, one after another, each more gut-wrenching than the last. Thanksgiving dinner. Jenna laughing a little too hard at Tyler's jokes. Christmas Eve, them sneaking off to grab more firewood together. Family barbecue. Tyler helping Jenna carry the cooler inside. Both of them disappearing for 20 minutes. I had trusted both of them. Jenna, my wife. Tyler, my cousin. Two of the people who should have had my back no matter what. Instead, they were probably behind my back in ways I didn't even want to imagine. I got up, restless, pacing the room. My hand brushed against her purse she had forgotten to take. A rare mistake for someone usually so careful. Some sick part of me needed to look inside. Needed proof, even though I already had all the proof in the world. Inside was her wallet, some gum, lipstick, receipts. I unfolded a crumpled one. Dinner for two at the Glass House, the swankiest restaurant downtown. Dated just 3 nights ago. A second receipt, a hotel reservation. One king-sized bed. My hands were shaking. The bile was rising in my throat. I dropped the purse like it had burned me. It wasn't just a betrayal. It was calculated. It was planned. She had been stepping out of our marriage and into his bed while I worked late nights trying to build us a future. I was the fool slaving away for the house, the trips, the life she wanted, while she was off living a double life that made a mockery of everything I believed in. The worst part? I could see it now, clear as day. She had enjoyed watching me stay clueless. She had relished the power she held over me. Each lie, each sneaky smile, each fake kiss goodnight, they weren't just acts of betrayal. They were trophies she collected, proof of how easy it was to fool me. I sank back down on the couch, my fists clenched so tightly my knuckles turned white. The man I thought I was, strong, smart, loyal, was dead, killed by my own blindness. All that was left was this wreckage. And an anger I had never felt before, bubbling just under my skin, waiting for the right moment to erupt. Be why the next morning, I wasn't broken anymore. I was boiling. I didn't call Jenna. I didn't beg her to come back. No, I wanted her to look me in the eye and say it. I wanted to see if she had the guts to admit what she did. So I waited. I knew she'd come back. There were still some of her things here. And Jenna was the type who never left anything behind unless she was planning something even more disgusting. Around noon, I heard the jingle of keys in the door. There she was, walking in like she still owned the place, sunglasses on, head high, chewing gum like some bratty teenager. She barely glanced at me sitting on the couch. "Oh, you're still here," she said, tossing her purse onto the counter. I stood up, slow, deliberate. "I'm still here," I repeated. "Guess you thought I'd be gone by now." She shrugged, pulling her sunglasses off and setting them down with a dramatic sigh. "Look, Kyle, don't make this harder than it has to be. We're all adults. Things change. People move on." I laughed. Actually laughed, a cold, hollow sound I didn't even recognize. People move on? I stepped closer. "Is that what you call screwing my cousin behind my back?" She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might get stuck. "Oh my God, Kyle, don't be so dramatic. It's not like we planned this." I pulled the receipts from my pocket. The dinner, the hotel. Tossed them onto the coffee table between us. "Not planned, huh?" I said, voice low, dangerous. She glanced at the papers, her mouth twitching into a smirk. "Well, maybe a little," she said, picking at her nails like we were discussing what movie to watch. "But honestly, you pushed me there. You were boring. Predictable. I needed someone who could make me feel alive again. Tyler gets me." The way she said his name, like it was something sacred, made my blood boil. I could feel my fists clenching again, nails digging into my palms. "And the family?" I asked. "Are you seriously telling me they're on board with this circus?" She smirked even wider. "They love us together. They think we're perfect. Your mom, your sister, they said it's better this way. You'll find someone else, someone who's, I don't know, more on your level." My legs almost gave out. My mom, my sister, the people I trusted most? Jenna saw the look on my face and laughed. A cold, cruel sound that made my skin crawl. "You really thought they'd pick you?" she said. "Kyle, you're a nice guy, but Tyler's exciting. Tyler's a winner. You're comfortable." The words sliced through me like razors. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to smash the whole room into a million pieces. But instead, I took a deep breath, locking the rage inside. I would not give her the satisfaction of seeing me lose control. I walked to the front door, opened it wide, and turned to her. "Get out," I said, voice calm, ice cold. "Take your trash with you." She hesitated, just for a second, like maybe she thought I was bluffing. I wasn't. She finally grabbed her purse and strutted past me without another word, hips swaying like she was on a runway. She didn't even flinch, didn't even look back. As the door slammed behind her again, I realized something terrifying. The woman I had loved with every piece of my soul had never, not for a single second, loved me back. After Jenna slammed the door for the last time, I stood there frozen, staring at the empty space she left behind. The silence was unbearable. It felt heavy, pressing down on me like 1,000 pounds of concrete. Every sound, the ticking clock, the hum of the fridge, sounded like gunshots in my ears. I sat down, hands hanging uselessly between my knees, and just stared. The first wave that hit me was pure animal rage. It surged through me, boiling and wild, demanding destruction. I grabbed the nearest thing, a picture frame, and hurled it across the room. It exploded against the wall, shards scattering like tiny explosions of betrayal. It felt good, for a second. Then the anger collapsed into something worse. Something black and hollow and endless. Grief. Not grief for her. Not even for the marriage. Grief for the man I used to be before Jenna poisoned everything. I had been proud. I had been trusting. I had believed in love, the kind you see in movies, the kind that conquers everything. And now? Now I was just another fool who gave his heart to the wrong person. The tears came without warning. Hot, furious, shameful. I buried my face in my hands, my whole body shaking with the force of them. I cried for every lie she told. I cried for every night I stayed up waiting for her to come home. I cried for every stupid plan I made for our future, the vacations, the kids, the dream house with the wraparound porch she always said she wanted. It was all fake. Every smile. Every I love you. Fake. I don't know how long I sat there. Time stopped meaning anything. Minutes, hours, it was all the same. At some point, my body just gave up. I slid down onto the floor, lying there like a broken doll, staring at the ceiling. The questions started swirling. Was I not enough? Was I blind? How long had everyone else known? Had they laughed behind my back? I thought of my mom, my sister, the people who were supposed to be my backbone. Had they really chosen her over me? The betrayal cut deeper than any blade. The truth was, I didn't just lose a wife that night. I lost a family. I was completely, utterly alone. The thought should have crushed me. It almost did. But somewhere, deep in that endless pit of pain, something small and fierce started to grow. Not anger. Not grief. Something colder. Sharper. Resolve. She took everything from me. My dignity, my faith, my trust. I wasn't going to let her take my soul too. Slowly, painfully, I sat up. My whole body felt like it had been run over by a truck. I looked around the wreckage, the broken picture frame, the receipts still lying on the table, the pieces of my old life scattered everywhere. And I made a silent promise to myself. I will rise. And when I do, they'll regret ever thinking they broke me. Because Kyle Hunter wasn't dead. Not yet. Not even close. The next morning, I wasn't the same man who had crumbled on the floor. Something inside me had hardened overnight, like steel cooling into a blade. There was no more begging. No more hoping. No more trying to fix what was already rotten to the core. Jenna was out. Tyler was dead to me. And my so-called family could burn right along with them for all I cared. I pulled my laptop out and started moving quickly. First, I called my lawyer, Mr. Bennett, a man who made sharks look friendly. I told him everything in 3 short sentences. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just laid it out. Adultery, betrayal, planned abandonment. He was silent for a second. Then he said, "I'll destroy them for you." Exactly what I needed to hear. We filed for divorce that same day, citing infidelity, demanding full division in my favor, freezing our joint accounts before Jenna could even think of draining them dry. Next, I started packing. Not my things, hers. Every piece of clothing, every shoe, every perfume bottle, tossed into trash bags like the garbage they were. I wasn't going to let her stain my home with her stink any longer. I found a few of Tyler's things too. A sweatshirt he must have forgotten here after one of their secret little meetings. I burned it in the backyard without a second thought, watching the flames dance with a sick kind of satisfaction. Every move I made felt like ripping stitches out of a deep wound. Painful. Necessary. Around noon, I got a text. From Jenna. "Hope you're packing your stuff. Tyler's moving in next week," smiley face. The rage hit me hard, but I swallowed it down. She thought she was winning. She thought she had me crawling. Good. Let her think that. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Because I wasn't just ending the marriage. I was ending everything she ever touched. I called my boss at the firm. Requested a transfer. Out of the city. Out of the mess. Somewhere clean, somewhere fresh. Somewhere she would never pollute again. Boss said yes within an hour. New office. New apartment. New start. No more shared memories haunting my every step. No more chance of running into her fake smile in the grocery store. I wasn't running away. I was leveling the battlefield. I made arrangements to sell the house too. It wasn't a home anymore, just a graveyard of broken dreams. She could have Tyler. She could have the lies. I was taking my freedom. That night, I sat on the front porch with a bottle of whiskey, staring at the stars. For the first time in months, I wasn't waiting for her headlights to pull into the driveway. For the first time, I wasn't wondering who she was with or what lie she would tell. I was done. She thought she broke me. She thought wrong. All Jenna did was set me free. And when I rebuilt myself, stronger, colder, smarter, she and Tyler would just be two worthless names buried in a chapter one never had to reread. I raised my glass to the dark sky and made one last promise. No one would ever get the chance to destroy me again, and if there was one thing I knew for sure, it was this. If I was burning my past to the ground, I wasn't stopping at Jenna. The so-called family that smiled in my face and stabbed me in the back, they were next. I started with my sister, Rachel. She texted me first, 2 days after Jenna moved out. Hey Kyle, just checking in. Hope you're doing okay. Jenna told us you were being difficult about the breakup. Maybe give her some space. Space. She had already been giving Tyler plenty of space. In his bed. In his arms. Probably against the wall of his disgusting loft. I didn't respond to her text. I didn't know her anything. Instead, I called my mother. It rang twice before she picked up, her voice bright and fake. Kyle, honey, how are you holding up? I didn't bother with small talk. Did you know? I asked, my voice flat, stripped of anything that could be mistaken for affection. She went silent for a second too long. Then, well, you know, sweetie, relationships are complicated. I hung up. I didn't need to hear another word. She knew. They all knew. They watched Jenna crawl into bed with my cousin and decided it was none of their business. Or worse, decided it was better for everyone. I blocked her number. Blocked Rachel. Blocked Tyler. Blocked every single person who had stood there smiling while my life burned to ash. The realization stung deeper than any knife. Blood doesn't make you family. Loyalty does. And mine had evaporated the second they picked the side of betrayal. I didn't cry this time. I didn't break. I felt lighter. For the first time, it wasn't sadness weighing me down. It was clarity. If they wanted Jenna and Tyler, they could have them. But they were losing me forever. A few days later, Rachel showed up at my door. I saw her through the peephole, fake smile plastered across her face, holding a sad little box of cookies like we were about to have a sweet brother-sister heart-to-heart. I didn't even open the door. I slid a note through the gap underneath it. For words, written in black ink. You chose. Goodbye. I watched her read it. Watched her face crumble. Watched her knock and plead for 5 minutes. Then I turned off the porch light and walked away. There was no coming back from this. No forgiveness. No second chances. They weren't my family anymore. They were just strangers with familiar faces. And honestly, it felt like cutting out a tumor I hadn't even realized was poisoning me for years. Jenna's betrayal had exposed something much uglier. The rot that had been growing inside my family long before she ever showed up. I wasn't going to waste another second mourning them. I was building a new life. One without liars. One without cowards. One where my loyalty actually meant something. The next morning, I booked a storage unit for the few things I wanted to keep. Photos, heirlooms from real memories, before everything turned rotten. Everything else. Sold. Donated. Burned. Every trace of them. Wiped clean. I wasn't running from the past. I was erasing it. And I had never felt stronger. After cutting my family off, I thought I was done. Thought I had burned every bridge I needed to. But every time I closed my eyes, I kept seeing them, Jenna and Tyler, laughing, touching, sneaking around like the smug traitors they were. It wasn't enough just to walk away. Not yet. They had paraded their betrayal in front of me like it was some grand love story. They needed to feel what real loss looked like. So I planned one last move. Simple. Ruthless. Final. First, I called the realtor handling the house. Told him to speed things up. Told him I didn't care about getting a good deal. I wanted it gone. He found a buyer fast, a developer who planned to tear the house down and build condos. Perfect. A wrecking ball felt appropriate. Next, I made a few calls about Tyler's loft. Turns out, he was months behind on payments. Typical. I made a quiet offer to the owner. Cash up front if they kicked Tyler out by the end of the month. Money talks. And Tyler would be talking to a moving truck real soon. Last, I had one more card to play. Jenna's precious new job, the one she bragged about endlessly, had certain morality clauses hidden deep in her contract. Sleeping with your husband's cousin while you're still married? Not exactly great for the company image. A few screenshots. A polite, anonymous email. Done. I wasn't doing this out of anger anymore. Anger burns out too fast. This was surgical. Cold. Precise. By the time they realized what hit them, I'd be long gone. I wasn't sticking around to gloat. I didn't need the satisfaction of watching them squirm. Their downfall wasn't my prize. Freedom was. And it felt damn good. A week later, I packed the last box into my truck. My new life was waiting. A new city, a new job, a clean slate. I stood there for a moment, looking back at the house one last time. The place where I had dreamed. The place where I had bled. And now? Just empty walls and broken promises. I didn't feel sad. Not anymore. I felt like a man standing at the edge of a cliff, breathing in the freshest air he'd ever tasted. Jenna and Tyler could rot in their own mess. Let them claw at each other, blaming, lying, sinking. I wasn't their prisoner anymore. I was my own man again. Stronger, colder, smarter. I pulled out my phone and sent one last message, a message that would end everything the way it deserved. To Jenna and Tyler, group text. You didn't break me. You freed me. Enjoy each other. You deserve exactly what you got. No threats. No begging. No drama. Just the truth. I blocked their numbers a second later and drove away without looking back. The world ahead was wide open, and I was ready to tear through it, leaving nothing but ashes behind me. It's been 6 months since I drove away from my old life without looking back. 6 months since I buried Kyle Hunter, the naive husband, the blind believer, the man who thought love alone could weather any storm. The man standing here now? He's not blind anymore. He's not weak. He's free. People think betrayal destroys you. And maybe it does, for a while. It grinds you into the dirt, rips apart everything you thought was real. But if you survive it, really survive it, you don't come back the same. You come back sharper, stronger, dangerous in a way the old you could never imagine. You learn things you can't unlearn. Like how love without respect is just a slow death. Like how loyalty is more precious than gold, and rarer too. Like how sometimes, the people you trust the most are the ones holding the knife. I learned to stop giving chances to people who didn't deserve them. To stop confusing comfort with happiness. To stop mistaking familiarity for love. Jenna taught me that. Not with her words. Her words were always lies. She taught me by walking away without a second thought. By betraying me so openly it shattered the illusion I had wrapped myself in for years. Tyler taught me too. Taught me that blood means nothing without honor. That smiling faces can hide the sharpest teeth. And my family. They showed me that sometimes the ones who clap the loudest at your wedding will be the first to celebrate your fall, if it means they get a better seat at the table. It hurt. It still does, sometimes. But not the way it used to. It's like a scar now, a reminder of what I survived, not a wound that still bleeds. If there's one thing I'd tell anyone standing where I stood, broken and lost, it's this. Don't chase people who throw you away. Don't fight for a spot at a table where you're only served betrayal. Don't waste your tears on people who see your pain as entertainment. Walk away. Burn the bridge if you have to. Build a new life so high, so strong, that the ones who tried to bury you have to look up just to see your shadow. I'm living proof that you can survive the worst day of your life. You can wake up after the bomb drops and find that you're still breathing. And once you realize you survived the unthinkable, there's nothing left to fear. Today, I have a small apartment filled with things that are mine alone. No lies in the walls. No ghosts in the closets. I have a new job, one that doesn't feel like a cage. New friends who know the real me, not the version of me I used to pretend to be to keep the peace. And maybe, someday, I'll meet someone who deserves the parts of me Jenna tried to destroy. But I'm not in a rush. I'm not looking for someone to fix me. I'm already whole. I forged myself in the fire she left behind. And now, I'm unstoppable. So to Jenna, to Tyler, to the family that chose convenience over blood, Thank you. You didn't end me. You created something you can never touch again. You built your lives on lies and betrayal. I built mine on truth. And I've never been stronger.